Hello, my name's Glyn Thompson. I work for Deaf Action and Fife Society for the Blind as the project coordinator for the Self-Directed Support Project. Again, it sounds like a bit of a mouthful, but basically I work to coordinate a project looking at the accessibility of services and information for people with sight loss and hearing loss in relation to care and support in the community. So I guess that involves working with local authorities, with funded support organisations, a lot of other funded projects relating to people taking control of their social care options, whether that's at home, whether that's in the community, linked to education, equipment, all kinds of different things. My role is, I guess it's kind of four aspects to the project. The first being accessible information. So we look at working with local authorities and support organisations and other funded groups to translate and transcribe their information into Braille, large print, audio description and British Sign Language video where appropriate, or where possible, should I say. So that's one arm of the project. The second part is looking at volunteers, so working with people with sight loss and hearing loss, including BSL users, deafened, hard of hearing, deaf-blind, blind and partially sighted people all across Scotland, who have some involvement in managing their own care package or who have some understanding of the social care system. Those people, themselves with sight loss or hearing loss, can support other people in a similar situation, their peers, with understanding information, knowing where to go, and preparing for assessment, a lot of other information. So that's another part. Third part is sensory awareness training, so providing local authority support organisations, other funded groups with sensory awareness training. So a section on deaf awareness, a section on visual awareness, so that it's all great having accessible information and people being able to find out about services, but when they go and access the services, if they're not actually accessible, if people don't have any kind of awareness of sensory loss, then a lot of people find that as a really big barrier. So if we can provide sensory awareness training, it gives that kind of additional support, gives people encouragement to go to services. And the final part is it was supposed to be a contact point, so manned by volunteers, people from all across Scotland could get in touch and speak to volunteers and be given that additional support. But we're finding other ways to service that part of the project using smart technology. So iPhones, iPads, existing smartphones, computers, all kinds of different things. So looking at other ways to link the volunteers with people who want the information. So where does BSL kind of fit with that? I guess through my contract with Deaf Action, I've studied up to level 2 British Sign Language, which has been absolutely fantastic. It's really, really enjoyable. As a lot of you will experience, it's an incredibly good language to learn. It's good fun. I have a tendency, as Bethan will probably testify, to talk a fair bit. And if anything, British Sign Language has encouraged me to be more clear, concise and to the point. And that then reflects on my emails, on a lot of information that I put out, because I have now have an understanding of the structure of things like British Sign Language, and have taken a lot from being more clean to the point and not talking around things, just being quite exact with things. So in terms of the work I'm doing, obviously we work with the accessible information, we work on translating into British Sign Language. So general documents that are produced by Scottish Government, local authorities, all the organisations that we work with, and translating into British Sign Language. A prime example being, at the moment, there is a user guide for self-directed support, telling people how it works, what the options are, who to go to. So it's like a start to finish walkthrough of self-directed support. And we've been contracted by the Scottish Government to translate that into British Sign Language. So we're working with people such as Frankie McLean, our social work manager, and Avril Hepner, who is who works for the British Deaf Association, amongst other people. We've also got one of our tutors here at Deaf Action has recently done a shoot. I think she actually did it this morning. This morning being Wednesday. So so that's quite positive. But in terms of my use of British Sign Language, I guess I've been allowed to use it, or kind of use it effectively with our presenters. So you can have informal conversation when we're setting everything up, getting people along, doing the filming and even preparing scripts. You can have that general conversation. I don't think anything would ever replace an interpreter. I think interpreters are obviously essential, and having that higher level of British Sign Language I think is key. It's so important. But I think being able to have any conversation is really positive, and I think that's been helpful. Being able to work with volunteers, being able to work with presenters, even talking to the funded organisations that we work with about the structure of British Sign Language and the importance of translating into British Sign Language and not just having text. Text is fine, it's something that is usable, but just kind of hammering the point home that it's a different language. It's structured in a different way, and having information translated is really key. So again, in terms of the way that you guys can use your British Sign Language, I think technically you can apply it to a lot of different things, and there are a lot of companies that it might your role might not necessarily be just linked with BSL. It could be that you work with somebody who's deaf. You might work with a client group that you come into contact with deaf British Sign Language users. I think it's an incredible skill to have. Being able to have that kind of general conversation with people, depending on what level you decide to study up to, I think it's really important. I suppose speaking on a more general level, in terms of working for Deaf Action, I think being able to have a chat with your colleagues is incredibly important, and working with other deaf BSL users in the building and having the opportunity to have a conversation. It's just talking about your weekend, something really basic. I think that's incredibly important. So in terms of your progression with your British Sign Language, I think it's again, there's a lot of different things that you can apply it to. I think it's incredibly useful. And I guess in terms of just general deaf awareness, just knowing a little bit more about it, you can apply it to a lot of different areas. So I think even if you're not thinking about the language as a whole, if you're thinking about deaf culture and the general approach you need to take with deaf people, I think the lessons that you'll be learning throughout your British Sign Language education, I think will be incredibly important. So I kind of hope that's all been useful. If you want to know more, if you want to talk to me a bit more about the project, or find out more information, then please ask Bethan to pass on my email address. Get in touch and I can give you a bit more information. Again, apologies that I couldn't make it this evening. I thought this might be an okay substitute. So please get in touch and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.